A new Team Go Rocket event is starting around the world in Pokemon Go, and you're not going to want to miss it. Introducing the Taken Treasures event going down January 27th at 12 a.m. to February 1st at 11:59 p.m. That midnight start, by the way, is actually huge because it actually means we can get the new Giovanni Pokemon as well as the new Team Go Rocket leader Pokemon from Pokestops on the first day of this event. Bonuses during the event, Team Go Rocket balloons will be appearing every 3 hours above you, so 3, 6, 9, 12 a.m. and p.m., as well as Team Go Rockets being more apparent at Pokestops. On top of that, you can go ahead and use a regular charge TM to remove frustration on your Shadow Pokemon, which allows you to use the regular move pool on your Shadow Pokemon and actually get use out of them. There'll also be exclusive Pokestop showcases during the event. We'll also see the debut of Varoom evolving into Revavroom for 50 candies. This Pokemon will be available in the 12-kilometer eggs. We'll also see Shadow Kyogre becoming Giovanni's new Pokemon that you can go ahead and encounter anytime you defeat Giovanni. Shadow Kyogre will be the encounter as well until the next Team Go Rocket event, so you probably have up to like 3 months to get this thing. Now, in terms of raids during the event, the regular 1-star raids will be Alolan Rattata, Alolan Meowth, Alolan Grimer, and Galarian Zigzagoon. 3 stars for Weezing, Galarian Weezing, Tyranitar, and Bombardier. 5-star raids for Landorus, Therian with the legacy move Sandsear Storm, and Mega raids for Mega Steelix. As far as Shadow raids go, we're going to have 1-star Shadow raids for Alolan Sandshrew, Murkrow, Pineco, and Krogunk. 3-star Shadow raids for Scyther, Skarmory, and Golett, obviously all in their Shadow form. And then on January 27th from 6 a.m. to January 28th at 10 a.m., Shadow Ho-Oh will be in the Shadow Legendary raids, available shiny, so obviously a Shadow Ho raid weekend, which is going to be super sick. On top of that, the 12-kilometer egg pool is going to be changing, hatching now Larvitar, Sandile, Ponyard, Volibite, Dino, Pancham, Salandit, and the new Varoom. Finally, most exciting is going to be the new Shadow Pokemon and new Shadow Shinies. Now, as far as the new Shadow Pokemon getting released in grunts during this event, this will include Shadow Corphish, Shadow Snorunt, Shadow Chimchar, Shadow Piplup, Shadow Krogunk, Shadow Dwebble, and Shadow Ferroseed, along with obviously a bunch of old shadows maybe returning or even staying. I'll list below a list of all the shadows you can go ahead and get during this event, but note this list is still being formed as the event is very fresh. Then, as far as the new Team Go Rocket leader Shadow Pokemon, they're going to include Cliff now having Shadow Zubat, which can be shiny Shadow Zubat. Sierra will then have Shadow Tentacool, which can be shiny Shadow Tentacool, and Arlo is going to get Shadow Bagon returning, which can of course be shiny Shadow Bagon. We'll also of course have exclusive research during the event with the field research task: defeat 1 Team Rocket Grunt, getting you an Ekans, Coughing, Zubat, Poochyena, or Krogunk encounter. Defeat 2 Grunts will then get you a Nimble, Bruxish, Scraggy, Paldean Wooper, or Marini encounter, and defeat 3 Grunts will get you a Hisuian Quillfish or a Sableye encounter. Also, the task catch a Shadow Pokemon get you a Mysterious Component, and purify 3 Shadow Pokemon get you a Fast TM or a Charge TM. On top of that, there will be a $5 ticketed paid timed research you can buy. This will get you not only this super cool pose, but also Stardust, XP, an Incense, an Incubator, and 3 Silver Pineapple Berries, and more. You note this has to be completed during the event. Finally, there'll be a new Giovanni special research story, which can go ahead and get you a Black Rocket Radar. Now, I don't know what the tasks are yet, but I'm going to put on a old Team Rocket research because they're actually all the same. So this is probably what the tasks are going to be. I just don't know what the name of it is yet. Nonetheless, remember, if you have any of the past Giovanni special researches past the page 1, you will not get this new special research, and you have to complete your old ones before you get the new ones. So just note that if you don't see this new special research in your account, it's because you have to complete the old ones before you continue, unless you haven't gone past page 1. With the event out of the way, let's get right into the tips. Starting with the best Shadow Pokemon during this event. Now, looking at all the new Shadow Pokemon coming during this event, the ones to look out for is going to be Shadow Snorunt evolving into Shadow Frostlass, which could have some play in the Great League PvP meta. Shadow Piplup's in there, which evolves into Shadow Empoleon, a Pokemon which could see some play in the Ultra League. Shadow Krogunk's in there, which evolves into Shadow Toxicroak, a Pokemon that could be good for both the Great League and the Ultra League. Shadow Toxicroak is also going to be the #1 overall poison type raid attacker in the game, not including Megas, which is actually going to be really good. And finally, Shadow Ferroseed in there, evolving into Shadow Ferrothorn, a Pokemon we could see in some limited cups like the Weather Cup in the future. Other than that though, nothing too exciting from this new batch of Shadows. However, in terms of the leaders, there's some great stuff here. First of all, Cliff with Shadow Zubat is not bad to go after, as Shadow Golbat is a decent Pokemon for the Great League and limited Great League Cups. Shadow Tentacool from Sierra is also not terrible, because Shadow Tentacruel does have a little bit of play in the Ultra League as a safe swap. It's a very strong Pokemon, and you'll see it in the high ranks. But the main one is going to be Arlo's Shadow Bagon to go after, which can evolve into Shadow Salamence. That's going to be one of the best Dragon type raid attackers in the game right now. Definitely worth getting that Shadow. Moving on though, now we got to talk about Giovanni getting Shadow Kyogre, which is actually huge. Reason being is if you go ahead and remove frustration from your Shadow Kyogre and use an Elite Charge TM to get Origin Pulse on it, Shadow Kyogre is going to be the new #1 non-mega raid attacking Pokemon in the game. This thing is going to be an absolute beast for raid attack. On top of that, Shadow Kyogre will have some play in the Master League, as does regular Kyogre. This is a very strong Pokemon for that, so it can be a double whammy. Overall, I definitely recommend grabbing yourself some Shadow Kyogres, especially if you've been following my strategy on how to stack radars. Maybe grab 2 or 3 potentially. If you want to learn how to stack radars and save radars so you can have multiple radars for when good Shadow Raid bosses like this come around, check out my video below. I will say though, maybe don't use all your radars because Shadow Kyogre is coming. Most likely that means Shadow Groudon and potentially Shadow Rayquaza are all coming to Pokemon Go soon in the next couple rocket rotations. So maybe hold on to 1 or 2 extra Black Rocket radars to use on those guys. But what legendary you can get a lot of is going to be Shadow Ho-Oh in the 5-star raids on the Shadow Ho raid weekend. This is an absolutely amazing raid weekend to play because not only is Shadow Ho double weak to rock, making it very easy to go ahead and take down. I'll link below my counter guide, but you can actually trio this thing pretty easily. But Shadow Ho is also going to be the number 3 overall non-mega fire type raid attacker in the game, and also an absolute threat in the Master League, especially this season because the Incinerate got buffed. And you can also get those shiny shadows, which are super rare. Not a Shadow raid weekend you're going to want to miss. But there's also other Shadow raids going down this event. Let's talk about which ones are the best. Starting with Shadow Alolan Sandshrew, which you can get into Shadow Alolan Sandslash, a good Great League and Ultra League Pokemon. Shadow Murkrow is also in there, which evolves into Shadow Honchkrow, which is a good flying type raid attacker. In the 3-star Shadow raids, Shadow Scyther is in there, which evolves into Shadow Caesar, a good bug type raid attacker and a good steel type raid attacker. Shadow Skarmory is in there making a return, which is a very good Great League Pokemon. Overall, plenty of great shadows to go ahead and grab during this event. But what about regular raids? The best 1-star regular raids are going to include Alolan Grimer, which evolves into Alolan Muck, a very good Ultra League Pokemon. Galarian Zigzagoon's also in there, which evolves into Obstagoon, a Pokemon which does have some play in the Great League and the Ultra League. In the 3-star raids, we see Galarian Weezing in there, which is a great Ultra League Pokemon to have, and also Tyranitar in there, which not only does have the Mega Tyranitar, if you want to go ahead and get a good IV one for that, but is also one of the best dark type raid attackers in the game. In the 5-star raids, Landorus Therian is going to be in there, in which with its new move, it is one of the best ground type raid attackers to have right now, and also a very strong Master League Pokemon. Do not sleep on this Pokemon. And in the Mega raids, Mega Steelix, which you can most likely skip, but it is nice to have some Mega energy because this Mega is nice to use to get extra candy for catching Pokemon. Okay, we're done talking about the general meta relevance, but let's take a look quickly into this new Pokemon, Varoom, evolving into Revavroom for 50 candies. And how is this Pokemon going to fare in the meta? Revavroom is a poison and steel type Pokemon. Pretty unique typing, having attack of 226, defense of 168, and stamina of 190, with a max CP at level 50 of 3,337. For fast moves, it can learn Lick and Poison Jab, and for charge moves, Acid Spray, Gunk Shock, Gyro Ball, and Overheat. Now, in terms of raids, this thing is going to be the number 10 overall poison type raid attacker, not including Megas, which is not bad, but probably not worth grinding based on how hard this thing is to get. Then when it comes to PvP, taking a look at it in the Great League, as you can see, versus the Great League meta, not doing well at all, having only a 19% win ratio. And very similar in the Ultra League, only a 20% win ratio. Overall, this thing just has too high of an attack stat for PvP because it's better to have bulk and also not the greatest move pool. So really, this is just a Pokemon for the Pokedex. If you end up hatching from the 12Ks, good for you, get it for the Pokedex. Now, next tip I want to talk about is going to be removing frustration, because this is probably the best part of these events. Normally with Shadow Pokemon like this Shadow Grimer, I go ahead and try to use a Charge TM on frustration, and it says you can't be forgotten at this time. And that's because you can only do it during Team Rocket events. So here's the fastest way to go ahead and handle this. First of all, in your search bar, go ahead and search frustration. Then I'm going to say and 3-star, and this is going to show you all your 3-star Shadow Pokemon, which are the ones you're generally going to want to be TMing away because these are the ones you want to use for raids. So all of these, I'm going to go ahead and probably remove frustration. Actually, this one especially, check out this 98% Shadow Dragonite. Still has frustration, so I'm going to be removing that right away. Now, as you remove frustration from these Pokemon, they're going to disappear because they're going to lose the move frustration, allowing you to know which one you removed it from. But then next, you're going to want to search and 0 to 1 attack, and 3 to 4 defense, and 3 to 4 HP. And this is going to show you all your PvP legible Shadow Pokemon. The ones with the low attack, high defense, high stamina stats, which is amazing. And these are the other ones I'm going to remove frustration from. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and just search at frustration and take a quick scroll through anything that might have gotten through the search threads and remove frustration from those. That is the best and quickest way to go ahead and remove frustration from Shadow Pokemon. If you want to know what are the best Pokemon in the Shadow form to use, I definitely recommend checking out my best Pokemon to power up guide, which I will link below, breaking down all the best Shadow Pokemon and regular Pokemon to power up in Pokemon Go. And with that being said, that brings us to our final section of the video, which is going to be our Platinum Medal tips. You need 35 Platinum Medals, go from level 48 to 49 in Pokemon Go. Which one should you grind during this event? And there's actually some good ones because Team Rocket events bring about some good grinds. Starting off with the Delinquent Medal, catch 2,500 Dark types, Shadow Pokemon. There's a lot of Dark type Shadows, and there's a whole lot of Dark types in the raids during this event. So, you can work on this medal if you haven't completed it. We also have the Hero Medal, defeat 2,000 Team Go Rocket members. They're going to be everywhere in Pokestops. They're going to be every 3 hours in balloons. So you can definitely take a lot of them out and get a point and get points towards this medal. Also, if you plan on battling Giovanni, the Ultra Hero medal, defeat the Team Grow Rocket boss 50 times, is one you will be working on. I don't know what the max amount of times you could have battled him, but I think it's like 20 or like 25 maybe. We also have the Purify medal, purify 1,000 shadow Pokemon. You're going to be catching a bunch of shadow Pokemon. Any of the ones with the bad IVs or that you don't care about, you can go ahead and purify very easily to get points towards this medal. They're going to be everywhere. I also recommend you guys go ahead and purify the 1,000 Stardust Purify Pokemon, which are the cheapest to purify in Pokemon Go. I'll link below a video breaking down every single one of those Pokemon if you want to know which ones are the cheapest to. We also have a bunch of exclusive shadow raids and regular raids during this event. So the Rising Star medal, defeat 150 species of Pokemon in raids, is a great one to work on because there's just going to be so many options of different species of Pokemon in raids to work on. And finally, Showcase Star Medal, win 100 Pokestop showcases. We have exclusive showcases during this event, so try your best to go ahead and win them. Again, I always recommend trying to go to the less busy showcases, maybe not the ones in the hot spot where everybody's dropping in. Try to find a showcase maybe a little bit out of town, less competition, higher chance of you winning. And with that being said, guys, that is my tips for this new Team Grow Rocket event. Again, these are some of the best events in Pokemon Go, so I definitely recommend playing it. That Shadow Ho raid weekend is going to be blast, and the Shadow Kyogre. So I hope you guys are excited with me. Good luck getting out there, and follow for more tips. Peace.